Another common question that I get is, what does it look like on the inside? Will you take it apart? And the answer is no. I was given this one by Chris Bernardo, a good friend of mine. I would never do that to it. It has a lot of sentimental value to me as well, so I won't be disassembling it. But I also bought this one, so let's take it apart. So first thing I gotta do is apologize. I look a little bit scruffy right now. I have some paint on my finger, and that's because I've been working really hard on an Indiana Jones video related to the new Indiana Jones game that's coming out. I'm really excited about it. It's too bad that they didn't make more than 3 movies. This one goes back to the classic storytelling, and I'm pretty excited about that because I always wanted to beat Indiana Jones. And for this video, I get to do that, including learning how to fight, how to shoot, and even how to whip, just like Indiana Jones. So that's why I look the way I do. Also, for those of you out there that were at Good Springs and then I got to meet, thanks so much for coming up to me, to talking to me, for the opportunity to be able to hang out with you for those days. We had a lot of fun, and we are still actually talking about it. Also, thank you if you gave me something. It was really cool. And I will say that my kids stole some of it from me when I first got back. But I'm going to try and recover some of that so I can show you some of the stuff that people gave me that they made themselves actually at Good Springs. But before we go any further, we got to open this up. So I would suspect that you probably watched our other video where we already opened this up and showed you how to do so. And that you probably watched the gameplay video about the process of setting it up. Oh, I opened it up upside down. Did I? Yeah, I did. I opened mine up upside down. I was planning on it being where the vault tape was. Apparently it was in there upside down. So I should have opened it this side. So there's no handles for me to pull it out. So the tape isn't always an indication. Probably I should have followed the side that says this way up is on here. But that's okay. The box on the one that I actually purchased myself that did come on time as to when they told me. As far as the shipping time, remember that when you first ordered these, it did tell you when it was supposed to arrive. Mine, for example, told me it was going to be arriving this month in November, and right around the time that it did arrive. But truth be told, there's several people who got theirs already that were told it would come later. Also, next year, several of you are getting them in February. I know that they made attempts to try and speed up some of the shipments because there was even some people that probably received information that wouldn't come until May. But, at any rate, we'll see how things go. Once again, when you first get this, make sure that you not only review this manual and the instructions to follow them, but also that you are looking at the online manual so that you know all the things you need to do before anything else. Now, here is... I'm going to hold on to this. I actually forgot that I was getting this other one that I had ordered. I'm going to hold on to this because I'm going to use it when we go to do our painting of our Pip-boy, when we go to weather it, so I don't get it on the screen. It's kind of like Chris used to do a lot of projects that use first film, which is stuff that you just cut it off and then use that as kind of your template. And so I'm going to kind of use this in the same manner. Now, for what we're going to be doing today, I don't really need all my little bits and bobs that I've got here. But, again, in order to make sure that it doesn't come off on me, every single one, it looks very different. I mean, look between the two of these. Now you can actually see they're very much different. At the same time, as you can see also, as I rub this, within film, it then takes on a whole new character. So I can use that to push around, make it where I want it. A lot of you are doing what they recommend, which is you can also use just a little bit of paper towel. I kind of just want it in certain areas at the moment. And because I'm going to be going back later on, maybe with this particular one, you know, something I could do, because we're kind of trying to do things for the movie. I could make this the one that I paint to look exactly like Lucy's, and then we can auction it off for some funding related to our movie that we're making. And then you could also maybe have some credits on the movie. That would be kind of a neat thing, I would think. What do you think of that? Let me know what you think of that. If that's something you're interested in, could be very exciting. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to make sure that this turns on. So I'm going to hold this down, see what happens. Oh, there it is. Isn't that pretty? How pretty is that? Now, I haven't updated this yet. Again, if you haven't updated it, don't complain about the sound levels or how something works or the fact that some things aren't on there yet. You do need to update it first. I'm not updating this one first. I'm going to turn it off, in fact. So don't cause any problems here. I'm going to hold that down until it fully turns off. And you'll notice before updating it, it just kind of turns straight off, whereas my other one, you get that CRT screen thing. Eventually, it's powering off. There it goes. Yeah. So, at any rate, so now it's ready for me. I'm going to sit it. The best place to sit this, which Chris did mention, this way you can't sit it. There is a way that we learned to do it, though, honestly, with the screen use prop, which is to do that. But at the same time, you can't really sit it like this because of this. Very well, the best place to sit it actually is right on the screen itself. But I'm going to go ahead and open this now, just like so. First thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take out these pads, like so. 1 and 2. And you'll see that we got these little locks right here. One here, one here, one here, one here. This stuff, actually, the black interior. Oh, by the way, if your wrist is a little too big or a little too small, you can take out a single pad, both pads. I also would recommend getting a little bit of thin foam. You can put it inside here if your arm is smaller than this and snap those in. It will make it a little bit tighter. Alternatively, you can also switch out the foam for other things. I had to take the foam out of mine while I was gone. Oh yeah, this is my Vault-Tec screwdriver, which I'm going to use to slide into this little space. You see there's a little bit of space. Just pry it up and like that. And it should have a couple of clicks here. And there we go. Comes right out like so. Be very careful about this. This is my USB. You'll notice we're going to see it on the other side too here in a second. This time I want to lift it from the center here. This is how I'm going to do it on this one. Just like this. There we go. And like that. Pop. All right. I'm going to put these pieces over here. And now I have my screws exposed. I want to point out that on the actual device itself, on the outside, it looks like these are actual screws. They are not. They are actually just really nicely done. Look like real screws, but if I put this in here and I try to turn them, you'll see. Nope, it's part of the actual thing. If that wasn't metal, I would not have tried that. But anyway, so coming back into here, the thing I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to undo. I'm going to see how much of this I can do also with just a normal screwdriver, because these are pretty normal sized screws. I'm using a Phillips head screwdriver right here, just like this one. Now again, the reason why I'm showing you this, which I told Chris, I'm worried, you know, quite frankly, all the stuff that you're wanting, and I've heard you write a lot of different things that you're wanting and that you're thinking, ideas that you have. Just wait and see what is going to be available with some of those mods, with some of ththose updates, which are technically, I guess you could say, mods to the original software, right? There's my 4 screws. I'm going to organize this kind of in my order of what I'm doing. All right, now the other piece is, even if we don't take off all this stuff, you'll notice just by taking off those pads, we've exposed this. One of the early questions that people had was, well, what happens when, you know, the battery runs down years from now, you know? So what do you do when that happens? Well, upside is it's easy to get lithium battery. Okay, there it is. Boop. Okay. So a lot of the questions you had, you're going to get answers to as soon as I lift this, because just even right here where the battery is, which here's our battery right there. Bring it a little bit closer for you. There you go. I know people are going to be doing like crazy things like screen captures and stuff for some crazy reason. As you can see, it's not glued down. And I've got a standard glass bright. There we go. Pulled that right out of there. Next, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this off. Really careful now. Oh, yeah. There we go. Look at that. So I've got our speaker. No, wait. So this is cool. The speaker, you know, the question was, well, how do we do this in a way that they didn't do with some of the other Pip-boys? I wish I had my other one sitting in front of here, me, but you know, we don't have a vent here. We don't have some place that we could easily hide a speaker. Otherwise, you know, I think one of the devices had one that was underneath here as well. But what they did is they used this crease right here to put that speaker. And so the sound is coming from there. See that? Isn't that cool? Very cool. All right. Luckily, everything is either plugged in or screwed down, which I like. The second thing that I was mentioning that will answer all your questions is this right here. There's your SD card everyone's been asking about. Everyone, I think, already knows the size of what's on there. This is 256 megabytes. It's in FAT16, is my understanding. So this is not a FAT32. What happens when you plug it into a computer? Well, the answer is yes. I was able to open it up, and it, you know, being used to things like Arduino stuff and Raspberry Pi, you're used to not being able to open up one of these on your computer without it possibly messing it up. So no, it's just standard files. Get in there. In fact, it kind of reminded me of the way that the PSP files used to look. Radio files are all WAV files. You have ABIs for your maps. But at any rate, and again, this is FAT16. That does mean something. So just remember that. Also, could I drag that across and expand this memory? So I'm going to go ahead and format a card, an SD card that's larger, but I got to format it to FAT16, as I remember. And then I'm going to put those files on there and see if that actually works, or if it actually has to be flashed. So FAT16 is not common. You'll notice the disk is only 256 megabytes, and the truth be told, these disks can only be as large as typically the max size they can use for FAT16 is 4 gigabytes, which I had to search for. I actually had one inside my house. I couldn't believe it. So I did copy across those files, and we can see whether or not it would run with that larger disk. To format this, I would recommend looking up how to format to FAT16, because sometimes you can't use Windows just straight off the bat for it. I had to do mine through CMD prompt. I'm going to try that too here. by the end. So, as you can see, I mean, we've got a lot of controller modules here. So we've got here's my switch right here. There's that one. Switch over here. Another switch right here, which is for the volume. I bet you there's also one that must be right on the board for the radio itself. But at any rate, that looks like a reset button. It is. So this must be the unbreakable part. So the thing that is cool about this is guaranteed for all you that bought the Bluetooth Pip-boys back in the day, or you were concerned that this would just brick. They made it literally unbreakable. I told them they should call it the unbreakable Pip-boy. But anyway, so that, yeah, you just stick a long pin through it. It does reset it. So any rate, that that hole must have been over here on the other side. Let's see. I don't want to tear any wires. Oh yeah, it's this hole right here that you would have to stick a really long pin through, because it has to go all the way from there. He said a really long pin, sure enough, to get all the way to that. So at any rate, there you go. So that's that part. I also see underneath here, we've got another board that has some different connectors on it. Yeah, so let's look at the other side. Carefully. I want to remove some of these things. I'm going to leave that screw on there if I can. Yeah. Oh, it's still... The problem is, I think they push on the button on the outside afterwards. Oh, there it goes. It slides right off. Perfect. Okay. So, put that right there. And I'm going to pull that off the board right like that. There we go. Got that controller module that goes there. Let's see here. I've got this. This is my... If I undo all these, I can actually pull the faceplate away. What do you want to do? Okay. Oh, that was almost it. I just want to disconnect this one from right here. There we go. All right. And officially, I've got my faceplate separate from everything else. Okay. Perfect. Next, I'm just going to pull this right out. I took out the two screws. I'm just going to disconnect these. Luckily, it also has on there what goes where. So that's the speaker. That's where the speaker goes. Oh, this one goes right here. This one goes right there. All right. See here, does this one also just come off? Oh, nice. These parts are, now I'm getting into the more metal-y parts. They also might have been glued, but if I disconnect it, I don't have to worry about it coming off with the rest of this. I'm going to say the same thing about this side, because that's not coming off right off the bat. Oh, it is. Oh. Okay, well, that one came off. So I'll put that one right there. I'm still going to detach this. I won't be able to take that board out until after I've got this board out anyway. So there it goes. Like so. I apologize for my hands getting in the way. At the same time, I always like to, when people they'll bring me their Pip-boys to see that they made from the show as well. And I've seen a lot of them now. And they're always much bigger because they assume it must be closer to the size of the previous Pip-boys, which I also thought, honestly. Right? If you saw my first video, I clearly overestimated how big that was. This is not the right kind of screwdriver to be using for electronics. I got my iFixit kit right next to me. But, hey, if I can do it with the actual Pip-boy screwdriver, I mean, come on. I might need to disconnect this first. I'm going to flip this up. I'm going to slide this out. Which means I also got to make it that's got to be my screen, so that means I want to be really careful when I pull this off. Feels like I'm still connected to something. Oh, it is right here, isn't it? I think I've got a... Just noticing how nice that needle is. Look at that. That's just not a piece of plastic. Yeah, it's definitely this piece right under here that's holding that in place. And so it's this right here. And so I don't want to mess this up. So the only other option I've got is to consult. And I can't do that because the time it is right here, right now as I'm doing this video, would be about 3 a.m. in the UK. So I can't really call or check on it right at the moment. But at the same time, again, the whole reason why I did this or wanted to show this to you is because I know curiosity can really make you think, oh, maybe I'll just pop it open. Maybe I'll just get in there. Maybe I'll do something. But what I'm telling you right now is that the updates that are coming, which I can't talk too much at length about. In fact, a lot of things are things that they're still just looking into. But on the flip side, their plans, the things that they would like to do, if you saw that Q&A, are pretty big. And you'd hate to miss out on that by ruining, especially the components of your Pip-boy. If it's just the firmware, that's, like I said, a workaround thing. This is unhackable. I did show you, at least though, if you did run into a problem, where that hole is, where you have to insert the pin should they tell you to do that. But in the meantime, this is kind of where I'm going to stop, is this far, where we did get inside. We did get to see some of the different components and some of the switches, and how it's put together, how it works. So the question is now, how hard is it for me to put it back together? And the answer is yes. Yes, I can. So now I have both my working Pip-boys. It is interesting, on this one, the Geiger counter is green. So keep in mind, this has not been updated yet. So stay tuned. Again, I'm going to also do some weathering later on of probably this Pip-boy. So if you're interested in that, if you think that that'd be a cool idea for me to take this after I put it back together and upgrade it and things like that, to just rather than personalize it, actually maybe I shouldn't upgrade it, but I will do some things with it, including making it look exactly like Lucy's prop. Would that be something you'd be interested in me auctioning off in order to raise some money for our film that we're making? Let me know. In the meantime, like, subscribe, comment below. This has been your Geek Fix.